Rutland, a memorable place to eat, is dedicated to Stratton, Stratty, and Agnes, still going strong at 82, whose Rutland restaurant is the oldest eating establishment currently in Rutland and now operated by his sons, Nick and Super Dave. It was opened in 1917 by the Corsones family and had its 100th anniversary 2 years ago. So to him, Ben and I dedicate our latest walk down Rutland's memory lane. May you enjoy this documentary about his beloved profession.
Feeling good, feeling fine, feel like the whole wide world is mine. Hey, hey, it's just a perfect day.
Like most human beings, Rutlanders have always liked to eat. In this documentary, Ben and I are going to remember and pay homage to favorite eating places that Rutlanders have frequented in days gone by.
It's just a perfect day. I'm gonna take it easy, do what I choose. The weather's fine and she's all mine. Ain't got time to sing the blues.
We're going to try to concentrate on the 1930s and on up into the 1970s. If we go beyond, we will get into too many current establishments and possibly leave someone out and cause hurt feelings, which is the last thing we want to do.
Feel so good, feel so fine, feel like the whole wide world is mine. Hey, hey, it's just a perfect day. Whoa, yeah.
So be sure to bring your knife and fork.
The world's all right with me.
And bring your appetites.
Feel good.
As we visit Rutland, a memorable place to eat. Purity Ice Cream and Sandwich Shop. Now that was located on Merchants Row, next to the Marble Bank. And what later became the Hollywood Beauty Shop, barber shop operated by the Tylers. And I don't have much on it. I do have a menu that was given to me by Mary Jean Costello, among other things she gave me, which are very appreciated. In its menu, it had RHS and MSJ specials. And there is a very grainy MSJ yearbook photo of seniors out in front of it, but it just shows you where it was, basically. The Cedardale Dairy Bar was located north of Rutland on Route 7 on the Thomas Farm property. I believe it was operated by the Thomas family. And that was a popular spot. I think it opened in the early 40s. It was there until 1963 when it was devastated by a fire. And I think that marked the end of the Cedardale Dairy Bar. But it was a popular hangout for high school kids who had a car, a little too far to walk. Creamy Country Kitchen. Now that was a soft ice cream place that opened in 1976 up in the Rutland Mall. And it was operated by Marcia and Don Chaffee and Don's parents. And it was like the next generation of Dom's soft ice cream. And it was there, I guess, until maybe the mall closed. I'm not really sure, but it was a popular place. Rondeau's Bakery was located at 23 Merchants Row, which was opposite the KFC, actually south of the KFC, across the driveway. And it was operated by Edward Rondeau, and it was actually called Renaud's before that. I think it was there from 1920 until 1965, so it always had a French name. My great memory, favorite memory of Rondeau's Bakery was the maple buns. Now, I've never had one like it since. They were like a large eggy roll with maple frosting smothered all over the top of it. They were a nickel a piece, 6 for a quarter, and I'd usually ride down on my bike and get one, which has added to my stomach over the years. But anyways, great memory of Rondeau's Bakery. And sadly, when you look down there now, you've got Rondeau's gone, you've got Foley's Laundry gone, and then you lost the Eastman building, which was 3 stories, Edison Auto Supply, the Hollywood Barbershop and Beauty Parlor for a parking lot. I just miss the old buildings. I'm sorry. I realize they probably deteriorated and were falling down over the years, but anyways. Tastee Bakery was located at 125 State Street, and it was operated by Fred Paquette. I think it opened in 1947 and sadly was devastated by the 47 flood not long after, because there's a picture of water on State Street that's up to the top of the doorway, I believe, of Tastee Bakery. I was never in there, to be honest, but when they opened down on Merchants Row in the Gryphon building, right underneath Smith Roberts Insurance Agency where my mom worked, I was in there a lot, and especially because Mary Shaplow, who was mother of my good friend Chuck Shaplow, and Lena Mayo worked there. And they were like, I don't know who to compare them to, a tag team, Abbott and Costello. They were just 2 nice ladies. They were friendly. They were laughing all the time. And, I'd get a glazed donut in there. Now, that was a good place to get a glazed donut as far as I was concerned. This was in later years. And then they moved over to the Rutland Shopping Plaza when it opened in 1967. The 2 of them were still there then. Then they moved down to Strong's Avenue, 96 Strong's Avenue. I think Mary went down there for a while. I'm not sure. I lost track of it. And they both since passed, but great memories of 2 wonderful Rutland ladies. Jones Bakery was located at 14 Terrell Street. It was operated by Alan Foy. And later Charlie Muscatello and his wife. Alan Foy made the best plain donuts. Well, second best, but I'll get into that in a minute. But he was a close second. And his donuts were best eaten when they were hot. So when we were over at the fire station, we might have had an alarm at 4 or 5 in the morning. Somebody would go over to Jones and come back with a dozen hot plain donuts. And I would probably eat 2 of them, and I might even get one on the way home. And that probably accounts for why I lost my gallbladder. And I think Dr. Bagley said he found a donut in there when he took it out. I'm not sure of that. That could not be, verified. Jones is now located at the corner of Nichols and West Street in the old Carpenter's Pharmacy, new building. Actually, the old building was downtown. And it's operated now by Walter and Lynn Manning. Now, my favorite donut shop was Andy's Donut Shop on Strong's Avenue. I was there for 1 year in 1958 and operated by Andy Capitan. plain donuts I ever had. People still talk about that today. Another great Rutland memory. Delvinary's Bakery was located on School Street. It was famous for its Italian bread. It has now moved to Terrell Street and operated by the Flex. And they still have the same bread cutter that they use. Happy Valley, or Nebraska, or the Gut, had many Italian bakeries, some of which were Romano's on Meadow Street, famous for its crullers, and Manalfi's on West Street, famous for its Bluebird Italian bread. Dunkin' Donuts opened in 1964 on Strong's Avenue, actually I guess South Main Street, opposite Strong's Avenue. It now has 4 locations. It was famous for its plain donut with a handle that you could dunk in your coffee. City Bakery was located on West Street Hill. It was bought in 1917 by Placide Duval, who had been the chief engineer on the paddle wheel Ticonderoga, which is now on display at the Shelburne Museum. He operated until the mid-1960s when it moved to 2 Edson Street in the Tuttle VFW building. His son Louis was in business with him. Placide was a very friendly man who spoke French and broken English. He was very generous with leftovers to kids who went in after movies. Louis later moved to 97 State Street. And their biggest claim to fame was cinnamon buns. They made the best cinnamon buns I ever had. Another landmark and memorable Rutland bakery was Bush's, located on State Street. I believe the number was 83 or 85, and it was famous for its baked beans. I don't think anybody in Rutland will ever forget Bush's baked beans, which were usually available Saturday morning. A big, tall, steel cauldron of beans, nice and warm, but they were just so sweet. They were the best beans I think I've ever had. Sorry, Mom. And Bush's opened in 1933. It was owned by a lady named Effie Bush. And there's a great Herald article, I think it was 1988, that shows 2 ladies. Mary Goodspeed was one, and Sophie Shutek, I think, was the other one. And they had a combination of 99 years of service in Bush's Bakery. Bush's was taken over in 1985 by Joyce and Jeff Sawyer, and I think they stayed opened at least another 5 or 10 years. I'm not sure about that. But also plain donuts. Now, I realize the best plain donut I ever had was Andy's Donut Shop, but Bush's had a cakey plain donut that was excellent. Very nice, warm donut. And the staff at Bush's were always friendly, like your grandmother. Roxies bus, located in Main Street Park, was operated by Earl Roxy Wilson from 1947 to 1953 when he sold it. But at some point, the Ransoms operated it, and I think they came in around 1958, and they're the people I always remember, especially Mrs. Ransom, waiting on me. Very nice lady. She seemed to have thick, whitish hair. I think she wore a uniform, a gray shirt or something, but very friendly, very nice lady. And she ended up working with her family down at Roxies at the fairgrounds. I remember her, I would say, around 2000 or so in that time period. And today Roxies is over on Route 4 in Castle and Corners. But Roxies in the park was the place to go after school, during the band concerts, on a hot day. You get soda, you could get some French fries, which Roxy's French fries are the best. They also had the foot-long hot dogs. Now there's a story about that. John MacFarlane, who operated MacFarlane Snackorama, was supposedly in business with Roxy Wilson, and their claim to fame was they brought in the foot-long hot dog to Vermont. Now I've never been able to verify that other than John MacFarlane stating that in an article. Many memories of Roxy's include band concerts and just fun time in the city park. John MacFarlane Snackorama. Originally, it was called the Drive Around Snack Bar, opened in 1958, and it was down next to the Bolorama, roughly where the Bolorama parking lot is today. And it was a bus, and you could drive right around, park out back. And I think in 1960, he moved down to South Main Street to where the parking lot of Pratico's Gun Shop, Kenny Butterfield's restaurant, turned out to be. He was down there till probably 1974. They used to hold record hops there. Famous thing about MacFarlane's was their special relish. People still talk about that today. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a plain hot dog man, so I never had his relish, so I can't attest to how good it was, but many people do. The A&W on North Main Street opened in 1955. It was the first fast food restaurant in Rutland, I would say. Had curb service, had the car hops. Young high school girls would come out, take your order, bring your tray out. I believe if you wanted service, you put your headlights on. That was the signal to the girls. There's a famous picture of President Eisenhower driving by the A&W in June of 1955, and I don't know if he was going there for the grand opening. No, I know why he was going by, because he was leaving the fairgrounds from the Dairy Festival, but it was a great plug for the A&W that President Eisenhower was out front. And that photo was taken by Mrs. Giffen. Dick and Ray's opened in 1965 over in Center Rutland and what later became the Florrie Snack Bar. And they were famous for the 15-cent hamburger, great milkshakes, French fries. Dick and Ray came from Barry, and I believe their last name was Perro. I stopped there quite a few times, 65, 66. And they were there well into the 70s. I can't tell you when they closed. The first McDonald's opened in Rutland at the corner of Allen and South Main in 1970. locations, the other one on Woodstock Avenue. Also in 1970, actually on my birthday, May 22nd, Kentucky Fried Chicken opened on South Main Street in the former Dairy Queen parking lot and OK Diner location. Other fast food restaurants that were in Rutland were Carol's, which was on North Main Street next to the A&P store. I believe that opened around 1968, maybe 69. Carol's later became Burger King. And across from Carol's was Neba's roast beef, which I loved. I love Neba's roast beef, and they had little potato nuggets that were good too. Neba's later became Caravel's Ice Cream. And that was on the site of the former Clifford Funeral Home, where Joe Clifford and his family lived in the house, and the funeral home was attached. I believe that was torn down in 68 to build Neba's, maybe 69. And then we had Wendy's across the road that opened in later years, and honestly I don't remember the year, but another fast food store on North Main Street. The MSJ booth at the fairgrounds was famous for their sausages, peppers, and onions. And I have to give them a plug, or Lucy and Carol Knott will scalp this Rutland High School guy. Larry's Quick Lunch was operated by Larry Carrera. And the one thing I remember about Larry especially was he set up at the Berwick fire, townhouse fire, in January 1973, giving out coffee and donuts, I guess, to the firemen. And Larry became famous for Jessica the cow. It was on his farm that the famous moose showed up to be friends with the cow, and that made national prominence. I believe the Today program had it on. A book was written about it, and you got to know Larry. Larry's just a great guy, and I seem to run into him a lot at wakes down in Wallingford at the Aldous Funeral Home. And Larry has provided me with some great photos of the townhouse fire that he took. But Larry's big claim to fame for me was he went down and found the Roxies bus, which is now down somewhere Danby way, I think out in the brush. And Larry took some great photos of it and provided them to me for the Rutland group, and I really appreciate that. Charlie Hackett's popcorn stand in Main Street Park was a location for soda, popcorn, philosophy, storytelling, and just a general good time talking to Mr. Hackett. He was a blind man, but he knew you by your voice. And it was always a pleasure to talk to Charlie and just enjoy his company. Joe Carnation's Lemon Ice Stand, located at West Street opposite Meadow in Nebraska, the Gut, or Happy Valley, whatever you prefer, was there from 1929 until probably into the 60s. It was operated by Joe Garfano, who went by the name of Joe Carnation, and that would have been Joey Garfano's grandfather. Famous for his lemon ice in different sizes, it was great on a hot summer day. Rutland's Happy Hot Dog Man, Big Lenny,
Happy Friday night, gang. Big Lenny. You can tell it's getting cool. Look at that. I had to put a fleece on today, a little hat to keep that bald head warm. Anyways.
Big Lenny has a last name, and I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Monterey, something like that, so I hope Lenny appreciates that I tried. I'm an Irishman, you know. And Lenny still has the greatest hot dogs, sausages, and great conversation. But Route 7, up near the post road, there's a little pull-off. And he was up there and then kind of moved down North Main Street. I think he was in Noble Ace Hardware parking lot. He was down at the old Buick Garage parking lot. And then he opened down at the corner of Strong's Avenue in Madison. And I believe he's had some health issues, but wish Lenny well and his wife. Hope he enjoys the little plug here.
Behind every great man is an even greater woman. During production of this program, Ray and I were deeply saddened to hear of the passing of Big Lenny's wife, Susan. Big Lenny and Susan were a superpowers team in life, love, and work. Together, they accomplished so many wonderful things. It is with great love and respect we pay this tribute to Susan and extend our heartfelt condolences to Big Lenny and his family.
1931 until 1972. It was a candy shop located at the corner of Center Street and Whale Street. Rutlanders always have fond memories of buying chocolates, peanut brittle, cashews, ice cream, you name it, they sold it. Many good memories, sweet memories there. In 1964, Ned and Vito would open Gill's in her father's building in a location that was formerly Dell's Pizza Shop. That opened in 1958, operated by Nick Barone, and in 1961 it was taken over by Pellegrino Del Venieri, so he kept the same name Dell. And I believe prior to them there was a grocery store in there. I think it might have been Jim McLaughlin's, but I'm not sure. So in 1964, Gill's opened. They were famous for their grinders, missiles, submarines, whatever the proper term would be. Always grinders, in my estimation. I always remember a letter that was posted on the bulletin board in Gill's as you walked in, and it was written by Mark Whalen, who was a friend of mine growing up, a neighbor over on Nickel Street. And Mark was in Vietnam, and he wrote a letter to Gill's saying he wished he had a grinder from Gill's over there. And that letter stayed on that bulletin board for quite a number of years, as I remember. Ned died, and a few years later, maybe Vida met and married Alfred Gill, and he became a partner with her in the business. And she operated that, I think, until 1991 or 92, when she turned the reins over to her daughter, Kathy. There's a wonderful generational photo published in the Rutland Herald, I believe in 1955, of the Pratico family that shows Vida, one of her daughters, Vida's mother, and Vida's grandmother. And 9 years later, Vida would open Gill's in her father's building. And today, Vida's daughter, Kathy, is carrying on her family's tradition in Rutland. Maxie Subs and Mini Tubs was opened by Barry Bove in 1978, in his dad's former store at 93 State Street. Vic Bove operated that store from at least the 1930s up until, I would say, the 1960s or 70s, and then Barry went in with the deli. Barry was known as Maxie. I always enjoyed talking to him, friendly guy, and he died suddenly in 2013, sadly. But most people have great memories of Barry, especially for the amount of meat he gave you in a grinder. I really don't know how he made a profit, but that was a great memory of Maxie Bove. As we have said previously, the Palms restaurant sold the first pizza in Vermont. Ted's Pizza, which opened in 1959 at 131 State Street, was owned and operated by Ted and Helen Vigno. Tony Romeo, who worked for Ted, took over the ownership of the store in 1974 when it moved up to 91 State Street. They recently held their 60th anniversary. Domino's Pizza opened in 1972. Pizza Hut opened in 1983. Pizza Castle at the Great Rutland Mall opened in 1975. And Rutland Pizza House, located in Rutland Shopping Plaza, I believe opened in the late 1960s. It was famous for the gentleman who answered the phone who always said, "Rutland Pizza House." And that's the whole pizza pie.
Feeling good, feeling fine, feel like the whole wide world is mine. Hey, hey, it's just a perfect day. Nothing but clear skies up above when I'm with the one I love. Hey, hey, it's just a perfect day. Gonna take it easy, do what I choose. The weather's fine and she's all mine. Ain't got time to sing the blues. fine. Feel like the whole wide world is mine. Hey, hey, it's just a perfect day. Whoa, yeah, the world's all right with me.